This is a video on ring basics. So you bought a set of rings and you want to hang them and you go, oh, Dominic, they're too low to be able to do muscle ups from. No, they're not. Absolutely fine if they're set really low. So they don't have to be set up very high. So let's get that out of the way to start with. So here are all the basics you need to be doing on your rings. To start off with, you need to be able to pop up into front support hold, which is just the following position. If getting up into that position to start with is really difficult, just set the rings a lot lower and then start to work on moving in and out in that position. Try and turn the rings out very slightly if you can. From there, the next basic would be to be able to just lower and then pop back up. I'm using my legs to get back up to start working on the dip pattern of a ring dip, which is going to be important for a muscle up. Eventually, as you get better, you should be able to not have to use your legs and be able to just push up and down unassisted. Notice I have to lean forwards a little bit in the dip. Next after that then is to be able to do a pause dip. So pause in the bottom position. You can start with your feet on the ground a little bit and then be able to push out of that position. That's very, very important to move on to muscle up, because you're going to have to be able to turn it over and hold that bottom position. Core work again here. We've got our knee tuck holds. Eventually, as you get better, you can get one leg out straight or maybe even get two legs out straight. This is really important because as people move on in developing a muscle up, they just don't get their legs straight. Your legs must be straight when you're doing a muscle up. It'll make it so much easier for you. Your basic pulling movements then are your ring row, which obviously as you get better, I've done videos on it before. We can do weighted ring rows or feet elevated ring rows, or you can move on and do something like a one arm ring row. If they get very difficult, very close to the rings, just move it further back, and that's another variation of the exact same movement. So your pulling and pushing variations would be mainly your dip or even push-ups from a ring. Your push and your pull are your ring rows, and then your pull-ups on the rings, which I'm doing as follows. So we're going to get into a false grip, which basically means my hands are turned inwards, the rings are resting now on my wrist, and I need to be able to hang first with a slight turnout. So you can see my hands are turned out in that position. Then I should be able to do a false grip pull-up. If you're new to all of this, just do a normal pull-up on the rings, even jump up and then slowly lower is a good starting position. As you get better then, we need to be able to move into, again, like with the ring dip, we did a pause. We need to be able to pause in that top position, especially with the false grip and especially with the rings against my chest. In that position, if I don't have a false grip, you can see what I'm explaining here is that you're going to have to take the rings further back. Whereas in a false grip, you're going to be much closer with the ring staying against your chest the whole time. Otherwise, without the false grip, you're going to have to make that ground up by turning it over more. On the muscle up, please don't rush it. Notice my legs stay straight the whole time. Notice I'm not rushing the positions at any point. Take your time. So you can see again, false grip, legs out straight the whole time, get into nice tight hang, take your time, turn it over slowly, work in the individual positions. If I was working on the rings, I'd work on one pulling movement, one pushing movement, and one core exercise.